Hey, it's Adele Wang of SafeHavenHealing.net, and if you're someone who enjoys reading books on leadership, inspiration, and maybe even the military, you might find this book interesting. It's called Never Fly Solo. Lead with Courage, Build Trusting Partnerships, and Reach for New Heights in Business by Lieutenant Colonel Rob Waldo Waldman. Mr. Waldman is a former Air Force combat fighter pilot who flew a lot of combat missions in the Middle East, and he is now a motivational speaker. So I first want to say that I appreciate his service to this country, and I found this book an easy, fun read. It's full of very interesting anecdotes about what it takes to become a fighter pilot, and he shares a lot of his wisdoms and learnings that he got from the military as wingman tips of things that could be useful in the business world. And he does this in a very down-to-earth way, shares a lot of cool stories about what worked, as well as being very human on the things that maybe didn't go so well. So overall, this book is focusing a lot on things like teamwork. Not surprisingly, this book has a military flavor. And so a lot of this book is focused on the importance of getting the right team to successfully achieve a mission. You need wingmen around you. These are people who can check your six, which in the fighter pilot world means people who can cover your blind spot. Every fighter pilot has a blind spot, an area where he cannot see, and he is relying on people he trusts to cover his blind spot so that, you know, when you're in the heat of battle, sometimes it's what keeps you alive. So I really appreciated his focus on teamwork. It's very clear to me that this is a man who cares deeply about people. So having said all that, I'm not sure that some of the things that are stated in this book apply to the business world quite as well as he might think. First of all, the military is a very different environment than the business world. It's single focused on a mission. You've got umpteen zillion resources all wonderfully aligned towards that mission, with every role and responsibility pretty clearly defined, and we all have our marching orders and we go in that direction. The real world doesn't always work that way in business. For one thing, many people in the real world have more than one boss. Especially in today's matrix environments, people have more than one person they report to. And a lot of times there are competing agendas, competing and conflicting priorities, and battles for resources. And the goal may not always be so clear simply because in business things change so fast. And business is constantly adapting. The military is great when you know what you're trying to achieve and you strive for perfection in a lot of preparation, practice, planning to get really, really good at your specific thing over and over and over again. And Mr. Waldman emphasizes the importance of preparation, planning, chair flights, meaning everyone on the team is practicing and preparing and rehearsing for every possible contingency that can go wrong on a mission. Because in the heat of battle, that might be what makes or breaks a mission. Totally get that. That's very applicable to military operations. In business, though, what sometimes matters just as much, if not more, is the skill of things like improvisation, being able to think on your feet in the moment, to do something that hasn't been done before, creativity, spontaneity, innovation. And that's not something the military is known for. The military is very focused on things that it knows, and it does a lot to get very good at those. And in business, sometimes what happens is there is not the time, money, or resources to do chair flights on every possible thing that can go wrong. Because frankly, if business owners were to do that, they might not get anything done. Sometimes what the military discourages, which is things like winging it, are exactly the skills that you need in business. So take that for what it's worth. I still think this is an interesting read. take from it what works for you. So, as usual, if you enjoyed this clip, share it with your friends. I'd love to hear from you on my Facebook page. And until next time, rock it out. Thanks.